The ABCs of Success by Bob Proctor.
Oh, absolutely.
This book is really just jam-packed with wisdom
It is.
from, I think it's safe to say, America's greatest prosperity teacher.
Yeah,
And it really offers, I think, some timeless principles for transforming your life.
it does.
And speaking of transformation, if you're looking for like a boost of motivation or you want to explore like personalized affirmations based on your zodiac sign, you got to check out affirmifyjourney.com.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
They have a ton of resources to get you started on your path to success.
For sure.
But for now, let's get back to Bob Proctor and kind of see what he has to say about unlocking our potential.
Yeah, one of the things that really struck me about this book was how Proctor tackles discouragement head on.
Yeah.
He doesn't sugarcoat it. He calls it the devil's most prized possession. And I think that's such a powerful image.
Oh, it definitely grabs your attention.
Yeah.
It's like you saying discouragement is this insidious force
Yep.
that can really hold us back in life.
Exactly. And what's fascinating is that he links it to self-pity.
Oh,
He's not saying that we shouldn't acknowledge our feelings when things go wrong,
right.
but rather that we have a choice.
Okay.
We can wallow or we can use those feelings as fuel for what he calls intelligent action.
So it's about taking that negative energy and channeling it into something productive.
Precisely. And this ties into another key concept in the book, which is the power of choice.
Yeah.
Proctor really emphasizes that even when we feel stuck, we always have more choices than we realize.
He even goes so far as to say that no is a complete sentence.
Right. And he uses a somewhat provocative example to illustrate this point.
Okay.
He talks about paying taxes.
Okay.
Most people say, well, I have to pay taxes.
Right.
But Proctor says, no, you actually have other choices,
Oh,
like going to jail or moving to a tax-free zone.
interesting.
He's obviously being a bit tongue-in-cheek here. But I think the point is that we often limit ourselves by not even acknowledging the choices that exist.
It's like we're on autopilot,
Yeah.
just going through the motions without really considering the alternatives.
Exactly. And that leads into another fascinating aspect of the book, which is Proctor's emphasis on developing our intuition,
Right.
what he calls our sixth sense.
I'm curious about this. What exactly does he mean by intuition?
Yeah.
Is it something we can actually develop, or is it more like a natural talent that some people have and others don't?
That's a great question. Proctor believes that everyone has this innate ability
Okay.
to pick up on those subtle cues, not just in what people say,
Right.
but in their energy and their body language.
Interesting.
He compares it to the skills of, say, like an effective salesperson
Okay.
or a detective who can often sense when someone's not being entirely truthful,
Right.
even if their words sound convincing.
So it's about learning to read between the lines, picking up on those unspoken messages.
Yes, and he argues that this skill can actually be developed. Oh, wow.
Through practice and by paying attention to those subtle cues that we often miss.
So how does this tie into the bigger picture of success?
Well, Proctor believes that intuition can help us make better decisions, build stronger relationships, and even navigate challenging situations more effectively.
Yeah.
It's about accessing this deeper level of wisdom and guidance that goes beyond our rational mind.
It's like tapping into this hidden superpower.
Right.
And another thing that really stood out to me in the book was how Proctor distinguishes between different types of self-confidence.
Yeah.
He talks about this idea of divine self-confidence as being the key to like genuine happiness and prosperity.
Right.
What's your take on that?
Well, it's fascinating, right? Because he contrasts this true self-confidence with what he calls false self-confidence,
Right.
where people try to impress others to mask their own insecurities.
Okay.
And then with a second type, which is genuine but focused on external validation.
So, you might be good at something, but you don't truly feel worthy unless others praise you for it.
So it's like that feeling of, I'm only as good as my last accomplishment.
Exactly. And Proctor argues that divine self-confidence is different.
Okay.
It stems from this deep understanding of our own worth, our capabilities, and our potential.
So it's not dependent on what others think.
Right.
Or what we achieve externally.
Exactly. It's more about aligning with our authentic selves.
Yeah.
Recognizing our inherent value.
And he ties this to overcoming the safety net syndrome.
Right.
Where people cling to security.
Yeah.
And avoid taking risks out of fear of failure.
Right.
Proctor challenges us to step out of those comfort zones, knowing that even if we stumble, the experience itself is more empowering than remaining stagnant.
It is. He uses such a good analogy for this.
What is that?
You know those old maps where the edges would say things like, beyond this point be dragons?
Oh, yeah. I love that.
He points out that people often create mental maps like that,
Cool.
limiting their own exploration because they're afraid of the unknown.
Right.
But what if those dragons are actually incredible opportunities in disguise?
It's about challenging those self-imposed limitations and recognizing that the greatest growth often happens outside of our comfort zones.
Exactly. And this leads into another really powerful concept that Proctor explores, which is breaking free from what he calls mental bondage.
Yeah.
He emphasizes the immense power of our thoughts,
Right.
arguing that we can liberate ourselves from limiting beliefs and negative thinking patterns.
He uses this great metaphor of the brain as a computer, right?
Yes, he says thought is the preamble to everything in your life.
Wow.
Essentially, what he's saying is that our thoughts are the blueprints for our reality.
Interesting.
If we want to change our lives, we need to start by changing our thoughts.
So it's not just about positive thinking.
Right.
It's about recognizing the power of our thoughts to shape our experiences.
Exactly. And he provides a lot of practical advice on how to do this.
Oh, great.
He talks about the importance of identifying limiting beliefs, challenging them, and replacing them with more empowering ones.
So this is where his emphasis on goal setting comes in, right?
Absolutely. He's a big proponent of writing down goals and keeping them constantly in mind.
Okay.
He even suggests techniques like creating goal cards
Oh,
to
God.
help maintain focus and motivation.
I love that idea of having like a visual reminder
Yeah,
of what we're striving for. It's like having a roadmap for our dreams.
exactly. And he emphasizes the importance of persistence.
Yeah.
He points out that many successful individuals faced setbacks and temporary defeats,
Mm-hmm.
but they ultimately achieved their goals
Right.
through unwavering dedication to their vision.
It's about understanding that success is not a straight line.
Right.
It's a journey with twists and turns along the way.
And he reminds us that it's never too late for a new beginning.
I love that.
He gives examples of individuals who, despite early setbacks, achieved greatness by refusing to let their past define their future.
That's so empowering,
It is.
especially for anyone who feels like they've made mistakes or missed opportunities in the past.
Exactly. And that ties into his discussion of positive self-talk.
Yeah.
He encourages us to become our own best cheerleaders, using words that affirm our strengths,
Right.
celebrate accomplishments, and focus on possibilities rather than limitations.
So it's about becoming more aware of the thoughts that we're feeding ourselves
Mm-hmm.
and choosing thoughts that support our growth and well-being.
And this leads into his emphasis on self-knowledge.
Yeah.
He encourages us to dedicate time to introspection,
Right.
to really get to know ourselves, our values, our strengths, and our weaknesses.
He even suggests scheduling time for solitude,
He does.
which can be challenging in our busy world.
Yeah.
But he argues that it's essential for self-discovery and personal growth.
It is.
It's like taking time to connect with our inner compass to clarify what truly matters to us.
And this self-knowledge, he argues, is crucial for making choices that align with our authentic selves and lead to greater fulfillment. It's about living a life that is true to who we are,
Mm-hmm.
rather than trying to conform to external expectations.
He even challenges us to question our assumptions
Yes.
about ourselves and the world around us.
He's a big believer in the idea that we often limit ourselves by holding on to beliefs that no longer serve us.
So it's about being willing to let go of the old, to make room for the new, to embrace new possibilities.
Exactly. And he even suggests that we can find freedom and liberation by challenging those self-imposed limitations and stepping into a wider, more expansive version of ourselves.
This all sounds really inspiring, but I'm wondering, how do we actually put this into practice?
Yeah,
How do we take these concepts and translate them into real-world change?
that's a great question, and it's something Proctor addresses directly in the book.
Okay.
He provides a lot of practical advice on how to apply these principles to our lives,
Right.
from setting goals and taking action to developing our talents and abilities.
Hmm.
He even suggests that we can achieve extraordinary results by focusing on what he calls the trifles,
Okay.
the small details that often get overlooked.
So it's about taking those small steps, consistently building momentum over time.
Exactly. And he reminds us that success is not a destination, it's a journey.
Right.
It's about enjoying the process of learning, growing, and becoming the best versions of ourselves.
He seems to really emphasize the power of our minds to shape our reality.
He does. He talks about the brain as this incredible instrument,
Yeah.
comparing it to a powerful computer
Right.
that we can use to create, innovate, and solve problems.
It's about tapping into that inner power and directing it towards our goals and aspirations.
Precisely, and he reminds us that we are the ones in control.
Mm-hmm.
We have the power to choose our thoughts, our beliefs, and our actions.
Right.
And by making conscious choices, we can create the lives we truly desire.
And that leads into another important aspect of Proctor's teachings, which is the idea of taking full responsibility for our lives.
Absolutely. He believes that we are all creators of our own reality.
Yeah.
And that we have the power to shape our experiences through our thoughts, beliefs, and actions.
It's a powerful message, but it can also feel a bit daunting.
It can.
What if we feel overwhelmed by the idea of taking on so much responsibility?
That's a valid concern, and Proctor acknowledges that it can be challenging,
Okay.
but he also emphasizes the power of choice.
Okay.
We can choose to feel overwhelmed and powerless,
Right.
or we can choose to embrace our power and step into our potential.
It's about recognizing that we have more control over our lives than we often realize.
Exactly, and that even small, consistent actions can create significant change over time.
It's about focusing on what we can control and taking action from a place of empowerment. It's interesting how he ties this back to the idea of time management.
Yes. He even challenges us to think about how we would live our lives if we knew we only had a limited amount of time left.
Oh, wow.
It's a sobering thought.
It is.
But it can also be a powerful motivator to make the most of every moment and live each day to the fullest.
I think that's a great place to wrap up part 1 of our deep dive into the ABCs of success.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot of ground, from overcoming discouragement and embracing the power of choice
Right.
to understanding the different types of self-confidence and harnessing the power of our minds.
It's a lot.
But there's so much more to explore.
There is.
We'll be back with more insights in part 2.
For sure.
So stay tuned.
See you there. So, picking up where we left off, Proctor also spends some time talking about the concept of uncommon sense.
Yeah.
It's interesting how he uses this seemingly everyday phrase to highlight the need for thinking differently if you want extraordinary results.
It almost feels like a paradox, right?
It does.
Uncommon sense.
Right.
But I think I get what he's driving at.
Yeah.
It's about challenging conventional wisdom
Mm-hmm.
and being willing to see things from a different perspective.
Exactly. And he uses some great examples to illustrate this.
Oh, yeah.
Like, remember how he talks about the invention of the telegraph?
Oh, yeah.
People probably thought Morse was out of his mind.
Totally.
Was trying to send messages through a wire.
That's not common sense.
Right, exactly. That's not how it's done.
Right.
But that uncommon sense led to a revolution in communication.
Absolutely.
And Proctor uses this to emphasize the power of our beliefs.
Okay.
He argues that if we want to change our results,
Mm.
we need to first change our beliefs.
This connects back to what we were talking about earlier about the power of our thoughts to shape our reality.
Exactly.
But it's not just about positive thinking, is it?
No.
It seems like it goes deeper than that.
You're absolutely right. It's about identifying and challenging those deep-seated beliefs that might be holding us back.
Okay.
It's about questioning those truths that
Mm.
we've accepted without really examining them.
So how do we do that?
Yeah.
How do we uncover those limiting beliefs and replace them with more empowering ones?
Well, Proctor offers some really practical advice here.
Okay.
He talks about the importance of becoming aware of our self-talk. Paying attention to those negative thoughts that often run on autopilot in the background.
It's like becoming an observer of our own minds.
Mm-hmm.
Noticing those patterns of thought that might be sabotaging our efforts.
Exactly. And once we've identified those limiting beliefs,
Okay.
then we can start to challenge them.
Okay. How do we do that?
He suggests asking ourselves questions like, is this belief really true?
Okay.
Where did this belief come from?
Hmm.
Is this belief serving me?
So it's about being more critical of our own thinking,
Yes.
not just blindly accepting those thoughts that pop into our heads.
Right. And then once we've started to dismantle those limiting beliefs,
Okay.
we can start to build new, more empowering ones.
So it's like rewiring our brains for success.
It is.
And I think this connects nicely to Proctor's discussion of the law of attraction, right? This idea that we attract into our lives what we focus on.
Absolutely. Proctor emphasizes the power of our thoughts and feelings in this process.
Okay.
He believes that we're all like magnets, attracting experiences that align with our dominant thoughts and emotions.
It's a powerful concept,
Yeah.
but it can also be easy to misunderstand.
Right.
It's not about just wishing for things and expecting them to magically appear.
No.
There's action involved, right?
Absolutely. Proctor is very clear about that.
Okay.
He talks about the importance of taking action in alignment with our desires.
Right.
It's about aligning our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions
Okay.
to create the reality we want.
So it's like a three-pronged approach.
Mm-hmm.
We need to clarify our desires,
Yeah,
cultivate the belief that we can achieve them,
right.
and then take consistent action towards those goals.
Exactly. And I think this is where Proctor's insights into leadership and management become really relevant.
Oh, okay.
He has a unique perspective on these topics.
In what way?
Well, he talks about leadership not in terms of position or title, but
Mm-hmm.
in terms of the ability to inspire and motivate others.
Okay.
He believes that anyone can be a leader,
Oh, why?
regardless of their role or status.
So it's about stepping up and taking ownership, even if you're not officially in charge.
Exactly. And he highlights some key qualities of effective leaders,
Okay, what
including being a self-starter, having strong communication skills, radiating humility,
Mhm.
and maintaining emotional control, even in challenging situations.
Like that.
He even mentions the importance of humor.
Oh, that's good.
It's about creating a positive and supportive environment where
Yeah.
people feel encouraged to do their best.
And his take on management is equally insightful.
It is.
He talks about recognizing the two people within each of us,
Yeah,
the superficial facade we present to the world,
right.
and our true selves.
That reminds me of Shakespeare's quote, "All the world's a stage and all the men and women merely players."
I love that.
And Proctor believes that effective managers understand this duality,
Hmm.
and they strive to help individuals integrate those two selves,
Interesting.
fostering a sense of wholeness and authenticity in the workplace.
It's about creating an environment where people feel safe to be themselves
Mm-hmm.
and to express their unique talents and abilities.
And he also talks about the importance of continuous self-improvement.
Right.
He encourages us to learn from others,
Mhm.
especially those who have achieved great things.
He even uses the example of General Patton studying the life and philosophy of his opponent, Field Marshal Rommel.
Exactly. It's like he's saying, don't limit yourself to your own experiences, learn from the best, even if they're your rivals.
Right.
And he ties this back to the importance of preparation.
Mm-hmm.
He emphasizes the need to become so skilled in our chosen field
Yeah.
that we create our own opportunities.
It's like that famous saying, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity.
Exactly.
Proctor seems to believe that success is not about waiting for things to happen. It's about creating the conditions for success.
And he even suggests setting aside time each day to think about how we can improve our skills, be more creative, and provide more value to others.
So it's making self-improvement a daily practice.
Yes, he believed that continuous self-improvement is essential for both personal and professional growth.
I love that. And he talks about the importance of having a vision for our lives,
Right.
setting goals that inspire us to take action.
He uses the example of John Goddard,
Okay.
who at the age of 15 wrote down 127 goals,
Wow.
including climbing Mount Everest and reading the entire Encyclopedia Britannica.
And he actually accomplished a lot of them, right?
He did, and Proctor uses this to highlight the power of having a clear vision
Mm-hmm.
and setting ambitious goals.
Right.
He also talks about the importance of breaking down big goals into smaller, more manageable steps.
This is so important because sometimes those big goals can feel overwhelming.
They can.
But when we break them down into smaller steps,
Right.
they become much less daunting.
Exactly. And he talks about the power of persistence, reminding us that success often requires overcoming obstacles and setbacks.
It's about understanding that failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of the process. Right. And that temporary defeats can actually make us stronger and more resilient in the long run.
And this leads nicely into another key theme in the book, the importance of positive self-talk.
Yeah, he's a big believer in the idea that our words have power.
Absolutely. He encourages us to become our own best cheerleaders,
Mm-hmm.
using language that affirms our strengths and focuses on possibilities.
Right.
He even suggests creating affirmations
Oh.
that we can repeat to ourselves daily to reprogram our minds for success.
So it's about being mindful of the messages we're sending ourselves
Right.
and choosing to focus on thoughts that empower us rather than limit us.
And this ties back into the importance of self-knowledge,
Mhm.
understanding our values, our strengths, and our weaknesses.
He talks about scheduling time for solitude,
Yes.
for visiting with ourselves.
He does.
He believes that the more we understand ourselves, the better equipped we are to make choices that lead to fulfillment.
And to challenge those assumptions that might be holding us back.
Exactly. It's about realizing that we're not stuck, that we have the power to change our lives at any moment.
Yes.
It's incredibly empowering.
And this idea of empowerment leads into another key concept. Proctor explores the importance of taking action.
Right.
He argues that knowledge without action is useless.
It's one thing to understand these principles, but it's another thing entirely to actually apply them to our lives.
Exactly. And he provides lots of practical advice on how to take action.
Okay, like what?
He talks about setting clear goals,
Okay.
breaking down those goals into smaller steps,
Mhm.
and creating a plan for achieving those goals.
So it's about moving from the realm of ideas into the realm of action.
And he also talks about the importance of developing our talents and abilities.
Hmm.
He believes that we all have unique gifts
Right.
and that we should strive to cultivate those gifts to the fullest.
He even suggests that we can find joy and fulfillment in the process of developing our skills and becoming masters of our craft.
And this connects back to his earlier point about finding work that aligns with our passions and values.
Yes.
He believes that work should be more than just a way to earn a living.
Right.
It should be an expression of who we are and what we care about.
He challenges us to break free from the mindset of settling for a job we dislike and to instead pursue work that lights us up and makes us feel alive.
He also talks about the importance of striving for excellence in all that we do,
Yeah.
regardless of whether it's our work, our relationships, or our personal growth.
So it's about developing a mindset of continuous improvement,
Mm.
always looking for ways to be better today than we were yesterday.
And remembering that success is not a destination, it's a journey.
Right.
It's about enjoying the process of learning, growing, and becoming the best versions of ourselves.
Proctor seems to believe that true success is about more than just achieving external goals. It's about living a life of purpose, meaning, and fulfillment.
And that this kind of success is available to anyone who is willing to do the work
Right.
to challenge their limiting beliefs. Mm-hmm.
To step out of their comfort zone
Right.
and to embrace their full potential.
It's an inspiring message.
It is, and I think it's a message that resonates with people from all walks of life.
Yeah.
Proctor's work has had a profound impact on millions of people around the world,
I can see that.
and his teachings continue to be relevant today.
It's amazing to think about the power of one person's vision to inspire and empower so many others.
And it's a reminder that we all have the potential to make a difference in the world.
Yeah.
We all have a unique story to tell, a unique contribution to make.
Right.
And by embracing our power, by stepping into our potential, we can create a ripple effect that
Yeah.
extends far beyond ourselves.
It's about recognizing that we are all connected
Yes.
and that our actions have the power to create positive change in the world.
Exactly. And this ties into another key theme that runs throughout the book, the importance of service to others. He seems to believe that true fulfillment comes not just from achieving personal success, but from using our gifts and talents to make a positive impact on the world around us.
Yes, he talks about the importance of finding a cause that we believe in,
Okay.
something that is bigger than ourselves, and dedicating our time and energy to making a difference in that area.
It's about moving beyond our own self-interest and recognizing our interconnectedness with all of humanity.
And he also talks about the importance of living a life of integrity,
Right.
of doing the right thing even when it's difficult.
Mm-hmm.
He believes that integrity is essential for building trust.
Yeah.
And for living a life that is aligned with our values.
So it's not just about achieving success. It's about achieving success in a way that is ethical and that contributes to the greater good.
Exactly. And he ties this back to the importance of self-knowledge, arguing that the more we understand ourselves, the more likely we are to make choices that are aligned with our values.
It's about living a life that is authentic and that reflects our deepest truths.
And he also emphasizes the importance of balance in our lives.
Right.
He talks about the need to find harmony between work relationships, personal growth, and leisure.
He seems to believe that true happiness comes from living a life that is balanced and fulfilling in all areas.
And he reminds us that we have the power to create that balance.
Right.
We have the power to choose how we spend our time and energy.
Yep.
And by making conscious choices, we can create a life that is both successful and fulfilling.
It's about taking ownership of our lives and creating a life that reflects our values and priorities.
And he also talks about the importance of taking care of our physical and mental health.
Of course.
He encourages us to eat healthy foods, exercise regularly, get enough sleep, manage stress, and find healthy ways to cope with challenges.
He seems to understand that our physical and mental well-being are essential for achieving success in all areas of life.
And he also emphasizes the importance of nurturing our relationships and spending quality time with the people we love.
Right.
He believes that strong relationships are essential for our happiness and well-being.
It's about recognizing that we are social creatures and that connection with others is vital to our health and happiness.
And he reminds us that relationships require effort and attention.
Right.
We need to be willing to invest time and energy into building and maintaining strong, healthy relationships.
It's about making those connections a priority in our lives.
And he also talks about the importance of having fun and enjoying life.
Yeah.
He encourages us to find activities that bring us joy
Mm.
and to make time for laughter and play.
He even suggests that we can find joy in the simplest things, like spending time in nature or listening to music.
He seems to understand that life is not all about work and achievement. It's also about finding moments of joy and appreciating the beauty of the world around us.
And he encourages us to cultivate a sense of gratitude for all the good in our lives, even when things are challenging.
He believes that gratitude is a powerful force that can transform our perspective and help us to appreciate the present moment.
He even suggests that practicing gratitude can actually improve our well-being and make us happier.
And he talks about the importance of forgiveness,
Right.
both of ourselves and others.
Right.
He believes that holding on to anger and resentment only hurts us in the long run.
It's about recognizing that we all make mistakes,
Yeah.
and that holding on to grudges only keeps us trapped in the past.
He encourages us to let go of those past hurts and move forward with love and compassion.
It's about choosing to release those negative emotions and create space for peace and healing in our lives.
And he ties this back to the idea of living in the present moment.
Okay.
He encourages us to savor each experience and not get so caught up in the past or the future that we miss out on the joy of the present.
He seems to believe that true happiness is found not in chasing after some future goal, but in appreciating the beauty and wonder of the present moment.
And he encourages us to cultivate a sense of wonder and curiosity about the world around us.
Yeah.
He believes that life is an adventure to be embraced and that we should never stop learning and growing.
It's about approaching life with a sense of openness and excitement,
Yes.
always looking for new experiences and new opportunities for growth.
And this ties into his discussion of leaving a legacy of making a positive impact on the world that will outlive us.
He encourages us to think about what we want to be remembered for and to take action to create that legacy.
And he reminds us that we don't have to do anything grand or heroic to leave a legacy.
That's a good point.
We can leave a legacy through our everyday actions,
Right.
through our kindness, our creativity, and our commitment to making the world a better place.
It's about recognizing that even small acts of kindness can have a ripple effect that extends far beyond ourselves.
And he also encourages us to think about the legacy we are creating for future generations.
Oh, wow.
He believes that we have a responsibility to leave the world a better place than we found it.
It's about recognizing that our actions today have the power to shape the future.
And that we all have a role to play in creating a more just equitable and sustainable world for generations to come.
These are powerful and timely messages, especially in the world we're living in today.
They are, and I think they speak to a deep longing that many of us feel
Yeah.
to live lives of purpose and meaning, to make a positive contribution to the world, and to leave behind a legacy that matters,
And Proctor provides a roadmap for how to do that.
right?
He gives us the tools and strategies to unlock our potential, to overcome our limitations, and to create a life that is both successful and fulfilling.
It's a message of hope and empowerment,
It is.
and it's a message that I believe can make a real difference in the world.
But I think that's a great place to wrap up part 2 of our deep dive into the ABCs of success.
Okay?
We've explored so much of what makes this book such a compelling read,
We have.
but there are a few more nuggets of wisdom we want to share.
There are.
We'll be back for our final part to wrap up what we've learned from Bob Proctor's insights.
Sounds good. So, kind of picking up from where we left off last time, I think it's really interesting how Proctor dives into the power of those small, consistent actions.
Right.
It's not always about, those huge leaps forward,
Right.
but really those daily disciplines that truly build momentum over time.
Yeah. I love how he illustrates this point with the analogy of like $1 million car.
Oh, yeah.
He talks about how ridiculous it would be to keep such a valuable car locked away in a garage,
Right.
only taking it out for the occasional grocery run.
Exactly. And then he compares this to how many of us treat our brains.
Oh, wow.
Something infinitely more valuable than any sports car.
Right.
We let our minds sit idle, failing to engage them fully.
Right.
He encourages us to flex those mental muscles daily,
Yeah.
to think critically, to solve problems, to create.
So it's about actively using the incredible power of our minds, both conscious and subconscious, to shape our reality and achieve our goals.
He even says, your brain is an electronic switching station. It is an instrument of the mind. Mind is the greatest power in all creation.
Wow.
I think that statement alone speaks volumes about his philosophy.
It does. It's
Yeah.
fascinating how he separates the physical brain from the mind,
Right.
that intangible force that drives our thoughts, our beliefs, and our actions.
Exactly.
And, speaking of things we often undervalue,
Yeah.
Proctor also challenges our typical ideas about money.
Oh, absolutely. He argues that becoming wealthy is less about luck
Hmm.
and more about cultivating a specific mindset.
Right.
And taking aligned action.
He talks about developing a self-image of wealth and abundance.
Yes.
If you believe you can be wealthy,
Right.
you're much more likely to take the actions that will lead to wealth.
It's like creating a mental blueprint for success.
Yeah.
And he even encourages people to think bigger,
Right.
not to get stuck in those limiting beliefs about what's financially possible for them.
I love that.
Double your income, he says, rather than settling for small incremental increases.
It's about breaking free from those self-imposed limitations
Yeah.
and stepping into a world of greater abundance.
And he connects this back to his points about taking risks
Mm-hmm.
and getting comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Right.
He even suggests that starting a business can be a path to both financial and personal fulfillment.
He acknowledges that entrepreneurship is not for everyone,
Right.
but for those who are drawn to it.
Hmm.
It can be an incredible way to create a life on your own terms
Yes.
while also potentially building wealth.
And as with any path to success,
Right.
he emphasizes persistence.
Yeah.
Proctor reminds us that many successful entrepreneurs face countless setbacks
Mm-hmm.
before they have their breakthrough.
Right.
It's about not giving up at the first sign of difficulty.
So it's about having that resilience,
Mm.
that unwavering belief in yourself and your vision,
Yes,
even when things get tough.
absolutely. And this brings us back to something we touched on earlier, finding fulfillment in our work. Proctor really emphasizes this idea that work shouldn't just be a way to pay the bills.
Yeah. He challenges us to find work that is an expression of our passions, our
Mm.
talents, and our desire to contribute to the world.
Yes, he even quotes Nelson Mandela, who said, "There is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that is less than the one you are capable of living."
Wow, that quote is so powerful.
It is.
And I think it speaks to this longing that many of us feel, this desire to live a life of purpose and meaning,
Mm.
to find work that truly lights us up.
Yeah.
Proctor seems to believe that this kind of fulfillment is possible for everyone,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of their career path.
It is.
It's about finding that intersection
Right.
between our talents, our values,
Mm.
and the needs of the world.
And he encourages us to bring that same level of passion and commitment to all areas of our lives.
Absolutely.
He talks about striving for excellence, not just in our work, but in our relationships, our
Mhm.
personal growth, everything we do.
It's about developing that mindset of continuous improvement, always striving to be a little bit
Right.
better today than we were yesterday.
And remembering that success is not a destination, it's a journey.
Right.
It's about enjoying the process of learning, growing, and evolving into the best version of ourselves.
So to wrap up our deep dive into the ABCs of success, it seems like Bob Proctor offers this really comprehensive roadmap for living a more fulfilling life.
He does.
It's about understanding our inner world,
Mm-hmm.
harnessing the power of our minds,
Right.
setting goals that inspire us,
Yes.
taking consistent action,
Hmm.
and having the courage to pursue our dreams, even in the face of setbacks.
He encourages us to embrace our potential to step outside our comfort zones and to make a positive impact on the world.
And he reminds us that it's never too late to embark on this journey of personal growth and transformation.
And for those of you listening who want to continue exploring these ideas and delve even deeper into the world of personal growth, we highly recommend checking out lingopediamagazine.com.
Oh yeah, definitely.
They have a fantastic selection of courses and ebooks on a variety of topics that can help you continue on your journey.
And if you enjoyed this deep dive, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, share with your friends, and give us a like.
Absolutely. We appreciate your support.
Your support helps us reach more people and spread these empowering messages.
Yes. Thank you so much for listening.
Until next time, keep striving for success in all areas of your life.